Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
I'm really enjoying this chat because I think it's such an interesting perspective. I just keep saying that because, again, there's so much chatter and it's like we hear one thing on this shoulder and one thing on this shoulder and one thing here, and Facebook says this, but that's a lie and this is that. And at the end of the day, I think if you are in a position of being an owner and you may or may not sell, I think it's important to really be listening to what you're saying as far as really know what that's going to mean for you.
Well, if you're someone who your work is closely tied to your identity.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a part of that where I think you can be a successful owner. You can be wanting to sell and not be tied to your, you can't put your identity in work.
You have to decide where that is,
and what that looks like.
I think if anything, you have to have the next plan, because that's where I think maybe was a hard spot for you and other people that we've kind of seen that are friends and in our space is they sold because it was in front of them and it was a good idea, but then they didn't have that next plan. And so you spend a lot of time, you think, oh, well, I'll have the time to figure it out, but you really don't. I feel like even, I've been having this conversation. I have some grown kids and I've been having this conversation with them about what they want to do. And I almost feel like I would put myself right into where they're at of what they want to do with their life. And they're still so confused and navigating that. But I am this person 100%. My identity is in working and just working. And I love business. And it's not even just that I love my HVAC business. I just love chasing. I think I relate to you a lot there. I just love the chase of revenue and achieving and setting a goal. And I had a goal to raise our net profit, and we raised it by 4 points, and it was in 1 month. And so being able to be check mark, it's a game to some, not these people's lives are not a game, but then that's the other part of it is I get a lot of fulfillment from people.
You do. You're very involved with your, the day-to-day of what's going on with your team.
Whether
it was HVAC, plumbing, or something.
If it was
anything else.
I previously owned a tanning salon. It was the same thing. Those I love deeply. And so was that hard for you also with not having that connection with your team?
That's probably what I miss the most is one of our things in our business was that I wanted my employees' lives to be better because they worked for us. They were always our priority. We always paid them as much as we could. We always gave them benefits as much as we could. We gave them everything, and not at a cost of a, thriving business, but just shifting things around, making things more efficient, and, training them to a point where they could actually be worth a higher amount, just all the things that you can do as a business owner in order to charge more for your people and be able to give back to them. Because that was, for me, what I loved most about my business is just the connections with the people. Now, let me tell you, there were some of my employees that I wish I could have got rid of a whole lot sooner than we did, because we didn't always hire in a great way. I'm sure you guys can identify as well, is that sometimes you're just desperate and you need bodies.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Some people are just there for a season, and that going into it, and you have to be okay
we
with
definitely had done that for sure. I think we've personally gotten into a better spot that we don't have to do that per se, but we definitely have been in a spot in our life where we did, but then you see those same people when you do that, you see those same people that are dramatically jeopardizing your culture that you've built for and all those other people. It's they're the sour apple in the bunch, It's messing up everything else you've worked for. So
I was going to say, it's actually the exact reason I wrote the book that I wrote, which is called Hiring Secrets for Trades and Construction, for exactly that reason, is because it's such an emotional thing, and it's so easy to just hire people because they're willing to come work for you. And in my book, I lay out the three things, it's how to find them, how to hire them, how to keep them. And it's all about, it's the people, taking care of the people personally. And then it's about the work environment. What does your work environment needs to look like? The culture, basically. And then also your processes. Is their work life easy, or do you make it really difficult, calling them at 7 o'clock in the morning going, oh, shoot, you're going to this place instead, or I'm not sure where you're going today, just give me a minute, or, having those, just making their work life easy by having the right processes in place. And I think that those are kind of the three things that are missing in our industry on a big scale to really find good quality employees that want to stay, and to really go through the process properly of hiring those people, knowing your core values, being able to share your mission, and be able to hire the people that match with you as opposed to just the warm body. And I know how difficult it is in construction, because there are so few people. You're like, but there's this person, maybe he doesn't match our values exactly, but he's no, because that will cost you a whole lot more than, going another few weeks
without someone. Oh yeah, we previously, we would hire, I was so proud of us this year, because we would hire a new service tech. And previously, it would always happen to where we would be slammed. And that new service tech was capable of running these calls, but he hasn't been trained to our processes yet. And so we would knee jerk and just put him in a van, and then he would never really get the training that he needed. Mm-hmm. And we recently just started 2 new service techs, and they have literally, it didn't matter how busy we were, they have been in the front seat with someone and they've been training. And one of them is finally this week in his own vehicle, but he's been with us for 2 weeks. But that's not how we had done that in the past. And then you're like, well, why didn't he do this? Well, because we never told him to do that, Right. But we're all guilty.
Just going through a proper onboarding process and being able to introduce them to all of these things is key to their success. And that's, I think, on the employer to make sure that they do put them through a good onboarding process to make sure that they can be successful and have all the information they need and have the appropriate people that he needs to ask questions to, or he or she can ask questions to, whatever that is. I definitely agree. It's up to the employer to make sure that person is successful.
We put in our core values a couple of years ago, and we say we hire and fire based off of our core values. And, one thing, I was coming in to the studio today, and one of my managers had sent a message to her team to remind them about the reason why we asked for options on our tickets, and I reminded them that one of our core values is solution provider, to be a solution provider. And we do that so we're preparing the customer for what's needed now or what's to come. But also, when you don't do that, you kind of discredit your expertise, yourself, and when you really put it to them like that. And again, so I could go down a whole rabbit hole of how much just being able to say our core values on a regular basis, and then your people start repeating them too. Because they're like, well, we want to celebrate our win. That's a core value. And when they start living that with you, that's when you start like, oh, this process is this is how it's supposed to go. And
it feels good. You can feel the difference when everything gets aligned with the right people. It's good.
Okay, so thinking about your processes and how you keep yourself organized and those things, I'd imagine that you took the best pieces of all of that, and that's what you started implementing into your coaching. So I know earlier you said you're in Vancouver, but the majority of the people you are coaching are business people in America?
That's right, yeah. I have them on all coasts. It's kind of
all
fun.
Coasts?
Yeah, it's good. East Coast, West Coast, yeah.
What does that look like to have you as a coach? What type of services do you offer? What does the day-to-day look like?
So originally when I went into this, I had this is the thing we're going to go through. We're going to start here and we're going to end here. But what I recognize is as I started working with people, I need to meet them where they're at. So I never actually took my A to Z process and applied it anywhere, because it wasn't really what they needed. What they needed was where they're at and let's figure out what your biggest challenge is. And while we work on that A to Z in the secondary, kind of the secondary goals, we are really focusing on their biggest urgencies, because a lot of them, and I tell you, between, mindset is a huge thing I deal with constantly as women in construction. There's a lot of challenges just, knowing that they belong there, and that the imposter syndrome and confidence and all of those things. So I work a lot on those things. So like the life coaching that I did do, the certification that I did do kind of comes in handy. So I kind of put those two things together. And then we work on their business, what their biggest urgency is, and we kind of work out from there. And the goal is to have them have a system where they understand their numbers and they can put their metrics in place so they can actually understand how their business is doing. And then we get systems put in place, and it's just sort of step by step. And it really does go by, what are we working on right now? Let's put a system in place for it, as opposed to saying, we have these 47 systems that we need to build. Let's start with number 1. It's like, what is the system? Maybe the system we have right now is number 23, and that's okay. We just need to start somewhere.
Well, because that's a hugely overwhelming process when you start building out your SOPs and getting them in one spot, the playbook to your business. So I like what you're saying, where you just meet them wherever they're at that time, instead of kind of just throwing this blanket on everything, saying, okay, you have to figure out 155 things this year.
Yeah, and
let's
when
get
you
started.
Yeah, and when you hire a coach, sometimes that's what you want to happen on the other side. You're like, fix this, but you honestly aren't in the mental headspace to do any of that yet. It has to be a one day at a time, piece by piece, because that's how you've done it before. But we are all guilty of just being like, check mark, fix this all, please, today. And then magic button, please. I've been looking for the easy button.
I know. We're still looking for it. She said she was looking for the easy button.
Yeah, I was going to say, my goal is really just to make the life easier of my clients. So how can I help alleviate that pressure, that stress, that you feel every single day when you're going to work and you don't know where you're going to start? Like, let me come in and just guide you. Let me help you. Let's do this. Let's work on this. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Do you have a template for this? I'm like, yes, I do. Let's get that for you. It's just making life easier, because I know for me, I would be sitting there going, okay, where do I start? I got like 5 minutes to work on my business. Okay, where am I going to start? And it's because it's everything, where do you go?
Yep. I feel that. Okay, well, we've loved chatting with you. If someone wanted to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
I'm really easy to find. My Coralee Beatty on all platforms, and I'm one of one, so I'm easy to find. And my website is thrivehq.ca.
HQ.ca.
Okay.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that we have that in the show notes for anyone looking to reach out. And I love that you talk about, construction also, because I think sometimes some of our other listeners or ones who've reached out to us are like, is this just for HVAC or plumbing or just for whatever? And I think that it's great to have people like you that are willing to recognize all of the construction things that are out there, and so specifically keeps coming to mind, like concrete and garage doors and those that landscaping friends that are looking control, that don't always have like as much resource as we have gotten spoiled to in HVAC and plumbing. So that's awesome.
Yes. As did we when we were there. Like that was where our start was with specific HVAC and plumbing coaches. One thing I did want to mention, actually, that your audience may be interested in, is that I do have a membership group, and it's called Elite Warrior Women, and it is for women business owners in the industry. And I had a pilot program that I ran last summer, and I just launched the membership in March this year. So there are still founder rates. And it has been amazing. Like it is everything from contractors, carpenters, painters. We have a couple of plumbers and HVAC. We have kind of a smattering of all of the different areas. And it's been amazing. Like, it's just a space to come to have conversation and figure out your issues. And it's a low entry point as far as, being able to afford something and give yourself that support. It's been an incredible space that I've really appreciated. And that's something that,
What was the website again on that one?
You can check the name of the group is Elite Warrior Women, and there's a link to it on my website.
Okay,
Perfect.
Cool.
Well,
I love that.
Get that in the show notes also. I think that's great to have. That's probably been one of the biggest things Leslie and I have talked about a lot, is having other women to talk to on a regular basis that are doing the same type of business that we are, that can understand what's going on and where we're coming from when we have frustrations or hurt, or understand, and, you know, to help understand. So.
And that's exactly why I do this, is because when I was a woman business owner, like, men and women have different experiences. And as women business owners, we don't have other women around us. So I started this space so that we can come together and have those conversations and have the support, collaboration. It's been amazing. I've loved it.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today. And we will make sure to get all this in the show notes for you. And we look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review at Apple. And make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.